Celebrity with Nene. So I'm Nene, and today I have Reese with me, and we will be doing a recap of Prison Brides. This is going to be season one, episode 8. So this is going to be the recap, all right? So this was the not the last episode because the last episode is coming on tonight, but the episode before tonight's. All right. So we'll start with Gabby and Jamal. Um, we see the scene opens up where Gabby is talking to Jamal, and they're kind of talking about things that happened the night before. Apparently, she was talking to Jamal, and it got a little illicit their phone conversation. We see her, she's getting ready, she's putting on a sheet mask and all those good things. And Gabby mentions that Emma was supposed to have came to the hotel to help her get ready, but she hasn't seen Emma. And then we see Emma. She shows up, but she shows up late. And so they're running behind. They're trying to get Gabby dressed really quickly. They run out of the hotel. Um, I forgot what time it said, but Gabby said it takes them about 45 minutes to get there, but they only had like 30 minutes to get there. But Emma drove. She drove that car. And she got them there in the nick of time. And so Gabby and Jamal, they got married, and we were actually able to see their pictures. They took quite a few pictures at that. So, any thoughts on Gabby and Jamal this week?
Um, I'm trying to think exactly. Gabby and Jamal, that was. Hold on, which ones are they? They're the ones that.
She's the tall blonde.
Okay. Yeah, they didn't really have too much going on this week. Other than like it was kind of crazy. I mean, but I guess I get it. A girl was hungover, so she was running late, and then it seems like she was kind of hungover too. Um, so yeah, it was. Other than that, it was kind of boring for them, or for her part, because there really wasn't much else to it. But I mean, I'm glad everything went well and they got there because I know they were freaking out before going because they were like, she was like, with prisons, you got to expect like extra stuff to happen or go wrong. So I'm glad that she did make it in time. But that was really all they showed. It seemed like maybe next week might be more for her.
Yeah, this week they didn't show a lot of the couples, but
Yeah.
it looks like next week we'll see more the
Yeah.
nitty of them. All right. So then we saw Joseph and Savannah. So this week we see Joseph and Savea. They're on the phone. Joseph announces, well, Savea kind of figures something is going on because he's at the coffee shop in the middle of the day when he's supposed to be at work. And so he announces to her that he has quit his job because he wants to follow his passion, his dream, which is his artwork. Right. So you can tell Savea, she's upset. He could tell that she isn't happy about it, but the things he was saying, it doesn't seem that he really doesn't care. He's still going to pursue his dream. She's upset. She's like, "You just got an apartment and you're doing this." But I was like, for some reason he felt comfortable. Even though I don't agree with it, I think he should have waited as well. So then we see Sabea, she's talking to her mom about Joseph and lets her mom know that Joseph has quit his job. So her mom basically said, she really didn't like the fact that Joseph was an inmate and kind of almost that she kind of wasn't surprised that he was kind of doing this. So, you know, we see Sabea talking and she's talking about the situation. She says she feels like she was catfished by Joseph with the things that he's doing now. She thought or he told her that things would be different and that he wanted a different life than what he's doing. Um, in the meantime, Joseph is saying he doesn't want to work for anyone anymore and that he wants to follow his dreams. And while Savea is saying she doesn't know where this relationship is going to go. Your thoughts on Joseph and Savea?
I completely agree with so okay. I understand what he's saying, but I completely agree with Savannah and her mom because you just moved out of the cousin's house. So
Hmm.
you got a whole apartment that you got to upkeep, meaning your rent, your utilities, you know, You're gonna have to buy art supplies. You're gonna have to, you know what I'm saying? It typically when you start anything like that, I feel like you're gonna put money in it in the beginning and it'll pay off later. So if you ain't got nothing to put into it, what do you think she's supposed to pay your rent and your bills so that you can chase a dream? Like
Right.
I understand what they were saying. Like you should have been doing your dream and working. Just like people move to Hollywood and they may be homeless, but they might find some little side job to just keep getting money until they, you know what I'm saying? Or they
Yeah.
live in like the not your fanciest or the environments that they would want to living in Hollywood up until they actually make it big. So it's like
Right.
you gotta hustle in the beginning and then, you know what I'm saying, everything will work itself back out. But I feel like he's just like, well, I'm good at this and this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be the next I can't pronounce that dude's name, but you know the guy who he was saying he's gonna be like Bascal or whatever, Basket. And but it's like I don't know, that's a big hurdle, especially where you live too. Like where you're at also is at a place where art is like big and popping, you know, like all of that plays a part. So I feel like what he did was silly. At least find a part-time job at least before you told her you quit your job and pursuing a dream. At least been like, well, I just found a job with different hours so that I could do this or something, you know. But to just all out quit, yeah, that was wild.
Okay. And you did make a good point that, like, even people who want to be actresses, singers, and they move out to California, a lot of times they're the waitresses at
Mhm.
restaurants until they get their big,
Yep.
make their big break. Sometimes that's how they get their big break.
And you've heard stories of them saying they were homeless too.
Hmm.
Like, ain't nobody moving into a brand new apartment or a new apartment just to quit their job and be like, well, I'm gonna be a starving actor. No, that's why they say a starving actress.
Hmm. Okay. So the next couple was Aaron and Michael. All right. So we find out Michael has been arrested because apparently, in last week's episode, we saw Erin leave the house and she went somewhere. She said he found out where she was. He came there and, she had to call the police on him. She didn't specify what happened, but as the episode goes on, then both of them are talking in the camera. They're not together. Um, Michael, he says he's a liar and a manipulator, and his probation or parole officer put him back where he needed to be because he was a danger to others. He did take accountability for that. Um, and so we end up finding out that he actually physically um, abused Erin. We see her, she calls back to Australia to her mom and talks to her mom because she says most likely she's going to go back to Australia. And, her mom is, trying to talk some good words into her, talk her out of beating herself up for what happened, because she's really hurt. She came here for a fresh start, came to the US for a fresh start, and then this is what ends up happening. She ends up getting with a man who's on drugs and he physically hurts her. All right, so thoughts on Aaron and Michael this week?
Remember I told you he had a temper? I knew it from the earlier episodes. I'm like, something about him, he got a nasty little temper. But I remember when she found the syringe and she left and you know, I thought it was just gonna be about him doing drugs and her leaving. But when she said he got locked and then I know like on previews I saw that he got locked up, I just didn't know why. But for her to say like she left and he found her and then, you know, she had to call the well, she had to call the police. She had to call the police. I'm like, okay, I get it. But then when she said the DV thing, I'm like, oh wow, that's crazy. But from little things that she said, it's almost like that wasn't the first DV incident. Did you get that vibe?
Not necessarily, but I wouldn't be shocked if it wasn't.
Yeah, it almost saying maybe this is the first time she had to call the police, but this wasn't the first time he was like aggressive or physically something. Maybe this was the worst, but just the vibes I got from the way she was talking, like um when she mentioned the DV, it's just like she just I don't know. At first, it was kind of like I don't know what can happen. Then it was like, yeah, no, I'm not taking it back. Period. There's no coming back from it, and this and that. But I don't know. It was just the way she was talking. Like to me, it sounds like maybe this wasn't the first DV incident. Which, if that's the case, that's really sad because the whole episode prior to her finding or all the episodes prior to her finding the drugs, like they were really a great couple. And then you see him talking about, yeah, I'm a manipulator, I'm a liar, I'm this, I'm that, and I'm like, dang, he played me too, and that's in that aspect because he didn't even look high to me. So
Yeah, because he said the day he got released, he was actually high that day.
yeah, and then he
Yes.
said it got worse and worse, and like I'm assuming he was doing it probably in jail too, maybe because, well, I don't know, because that day when he got released, he was like busting like big time, which might be the reason behind that too if he was high, because like he was like, he may have to go to a halfway house, he may have to do this, and then she was like, oh my god, and then he was yelling at her like, don't make it about you and this and that. He was being real rude to her on the day he got released initially. But I'm like, but what do you expect if she moved from Australia? This is what, there was no talks of halfway houses. She gets there, then there's a talk of a halfway house, and it's like, dude, wait, what? Like, I don't find that selfish. And that she's making it about her. She just like, dang, I just came over from Australia. Like, she's being
Right.
realistic. So I don't know. I guess I'm glad. I'm glad. Good on her that she did put her foot down, and hopefully she keeps it down by saying like she's not gonna go back to him. And yes, you may have thought you were gonna have a better life in America, but maybe, what I'm saying, this is just your call. Go back to your son. Just do what you got to do and take care of that, because that would, what I'm saying, it turned out not to be worth even leaving him. So
Right. So our next couple is Olivia and KJ. Now I'm going to be mentioning Emma again because during this episode she was going between the two friends. She really didn't have any scenes alone, so I'm just going to keep her mingled in with the others. Okay. So next we'll have Olivia and KJ. And so we see Olivia, she's getting ready for her wedding, which it turns out is on the same day as Gabby and Jamal's wedding. All right, so we see her. She goes and she gets married, and then after she gets married, she goes to this bar and she meets Emma there. So when Emma comes, she lets Emma know that when she FaceTimed her, that hurt her feelings, because she was all alone, and it just reminded her that she was all alone and that the one friend she had or whatever was with somebody else. And so Emma realizes that she shouldn't have did that, and that the FaceTime hurt Olivia's feelings. And so she starts crying because she feels bad. They hug, they work it out. But Olivia's, I do like that Olivia said, she was like, I can appreciate that, she felt bad and she had the tears, but I had a right to feel the way that I feel. And which she did. She had that right. And so um, it can be appreciated. But like I said, Emma cried and apologized for that. And the ladies, they hung out at the bar. They didn't show a lot of their scenes, so I'm not sure how much fun they had. I don't know if they rode a mechanical bull like Gabby and Emma did. That I'm not for sure of. So, what were your thoughts on Olivia and KJ?
yeah, I doubt they rode the bull. But I guess as far as, I'm glad that Emma did express like how she felt. Wait. Gabby.
Olivia.
Olivia. Olivia expressed how she felt to Emma, right?
Hmm.
I'm mixing all their names up. Gabby expressed how she felt to Emma and being like, yeah, it hurt my feelings. And I'm glad she did say it instead of, some people, because when she showed up, they hugged and everything. She could have just been like, oh, well, I'll leave it alone. But I'm glad she did tell her because,
Hmm.
she probably really didn't realize it and think of it either because she had been drinking. And then I also, so I understood why um Emma was crying and being all extra like, oh yeah, because it makes me remember when I got married and I was by myself. But I'm glad that Gabby, right? Am I mixing the names up? Olivia.
Olivia.
Mixing the
We have
names
Olivia
up.
and Emma. Emma has the dark hair, and Olivia
Okay.
had the blonde hair.
Olivia. But I'm glad that Olivia was like, I completely understand why you're crying and everything, but it's not gonna take away from what you did to me. So I'm glad like she kept that, even though she ain't said it out loud. I'm glad she kind of was like, still giving that serious look, like, Okay. But we're not gonna forget what you did though, because that still was hurtful for me this time around, even though you can completely understand. Which you know what I'm saying, she really can, which is why she really shouldn't have done it. But I get why in the moment she did it, because she was like, hey, you know, it's your big day. I didn't forget about you. But it still was tasteless. And but at the end of the day, everybody's weddings went through well, and she was still able to meet up, and she still said they besties. It's just, you know, she didn't like that situation in the position she was put in. So, but I'm just glad everything still went smooth, because, in my opinion, she's when it comes down to the decision she made, I still think she picked the right person. It's just that night she didn't do the right thing
Yeah.
because of the way, you know, the other girl wouldn't have got married if not.
Okay, so next was Jessica and Craig. Their scenes was very short. So we see them together. Jessica says, basically without saying, they've been bumping heads. You know, there's been some challenges between them. But I guess they're still just trying to work through it. So where their scenes
Mm-hmm.
really became substantial was when Craig's sister showed up. And so she was just talking to him about how his prison sentence affected her. She was 10 years old when he went to prison. And, you know, and as a little girl, she blamed herself for it. You know, and she internalized him going to jail or prison more than what he realized. You know, she cried her tears, they hugged. It was really sweet, you know. And so that was pretty much the scenes with Jessica and Craig this week. Did you have any thoughts on them?
Yeah, I felt the same way. Like it was really sad and sweet. I don't know what the sister going through with the haircut, but because they didn't really talk about it. Hopefully, I mean, nothing crazy, but um, I'm glad that she got through it. Um, because she said it took her a while to get through, like feeling like it was her fault that he was going to jail because he didn't want her around. I'm glad that even before he got out, she got through that, because that's probably was messing her up. And then oh girl, like doing the most, like she's like, our packages arrived when she did her orders, and he was like, no, your packages arrived.
Oh, that's next week, though.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I swear I thought that was in this one. It
It's
showed
next
him.
week.
See, that's why usually I don't watch those the
The
scenes for the
previews.
next one, because then I mix them in. But but we know that's why they having problems, is because of, as far as
Money.
him, is money. Yeah, because she's spending too much.
Hmm.
So I guess I won't say no more then, because people might not have seen those scenes.
So that was the couples. I don't know why I felt like I skipped somebody, but I went back through. I didn't skip anybody.
Mhm. It's
So,
just, this was kind of like how we said in the Love After Like, of the filler type episode. I feel like before it gets kind of, like some of those shows have like a filler episode. Like I feel like this
mhm,
might be one of those.
yeah. All right. So that was this week's episode. If you stayed around and you've watched all the way to this point, go ahead and click that like. Go ahead and click that like button and subscribe as well. Okay. So we'll be back next week with this week's episode in a few days. All right. So thank you for watching, and until next time, friends. Bye.